this session is being recorded, so if there's anything you missed, if there's anything that you forgot to take notes on, don't worry. We'll provide a link to a video of it, an online link to the video at some point after this presentation. For those of you that are with me, thanks for coming. This is the Intro to National Engineering Month 2016. It's for new event organizers, although if maybe you've run an event before, that's okay. It's sort of a refresher course as well. Let's get started. So just a quick agenda for everybody. I'm just going to go over just do an overview of what was done in National Engineering Month 2015, the theme, the ideas behind it, some statistics about our impact in 2015 this year. Then I'm going to go over our plan for National Engineering Month 2016. There's a new theme going on, as well as I'm going to talk about what we're going to offer to you as an organizer if you're thinking about running an event, and what we expect from you as an organizer to commit, and then some next steps. What do you need to do in order to run your event and be part of this great campaign? Then I'll take some questions, and hopefully we'll be done by 12:30. I don't want to run any longer than that. I know that everybody's on lunch or on break or something like that. Anyway, so here we go. This is just a nice table here of the impact that we've been having as a National Engineering Month committee. This is just within Ontario. So as you can see, it's been growing year over year. In 2012, we had 140 events, engaged 22,000 approximately people. Those people could be members of the public, they could be youth, high school students, university students, anything. We also have statistics here about how many people we've engaged via our website, our social media. Again, as you can see, it's been growing, especially the social media. It's been growing exponentially, if you will, due to our continued efforts with the various social media platforms. That includes Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and so on. And 2016 will be no different. We're going to definitely focus on that, especially because they are youth platforms. They are things that youth look at and pay attention to, so we need to pay attention to it as well. And we definitely want youth to know what engineering and engineering technology is. We want them to get involved and hopefully consider it as a future career. Our main metric going back is the events, and again 140 in 2012, and this year it was 276, which is a number we're very, very proud of. It was a big effort, a coordinated effort, and another number that we want to increase in 2016. Here's just a breakdown of who's been hosting these events. So if you're new to what National Engineering Month is and who's involved, we have four key members, and then sort of other events, if you will. So we've got PEO, which is Professional Engineers Ontario, OSET, which is the Ontario Association of Certified Engineering Technologists and Technicians. We have EWB, which stands for Engineers Without Borders, and then we have other, which is just sort of the various other organizations that are running events. As you can see, the breakdown is fairly even. PEO does their part, OSET does their part, EWB does their part, and we also have the other section, which includes organizations such as the Girl Guides running National Engineering Month events, various public schools, libraries, and so on. It was a great, great year for events this year and in 2014. So as I said, a coalition approach. So we do this as a coalition. National Engineering Month Ontario is the most coordinated campaign of all the provinces. It is a national campaign. However, each province coordinates their own events. They sort of take care of things within their borders. And in Ontario, being the largest province in population, we do have to do things differently than the other provinces. and yeah, it's sort of an approach that brings everybody together, and we can share our resources, share our knowledge, and we succeed. I have a question here. I'll just pause for a second. I have a question here from Richard. You're currently in grade 9. You don't think you'll be able to run an event. Would you be able to assist in running an event? Sure. That's definitely not a problem. And if you're interested, maybe get in contact with one of your teachers, your physics teacher, your science teacher, and send us an email. These events can definitely happen within high schools. It's happened before. If you're really, really keen on running something like that, get in contact with us. Maybe we can get in touch with an engineer who can come to your classroom, something like that. So definitely do that, and it's definitely possible. Social media, again, as I mentioned, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, and we also have our own website, nemontario.ca. On the website itself, we've got blog articles, images, this specifically for youth, geared towards youth. So, Richard, if you are interested in reading more about engineering, especially within Ontario, take a look at that website. We ramp up the blog articles and images and so on, starting in around February and going into National Engineering Month, which is in March, and then sort of tail off in April. And same with social media. Our approach. So we do what we want to do here with NEM Ontario is do really, really well-researched, well-founded engineering outreach. And engineering outreach can be done in many ways, but what we want to emphasize here is clear and deliberate messaging. And this is based on research. One of the challenges that the profession faces, both engineering and engineering technology, is the lack of diversity. One of the bigger challenges is gender equality within the profession. But in general, what we really want to do is change the public perception of what engineering and engineering technology is. That includes breaking stereotypes, raising awareness about what it is in general. A lot of people don't know what engineers do, what technologists do, um, and we really want to get out there and tell people this is what we do. This is the impact that we have on everybody's lives, on society. And these messages aren't getting out, especially when we do more traditional forms of engineering outreach. And you'll see what I mean in a second. What are effective messages? Well, we don't want to just turn around to the public and tell people that engineers, technologists, we build stuff, because that's not necessarily true. In fact, that's just a single component of a larger profession. We have the whole design aspects of things and so on. Um, but and really the message that resonates, especially with youth, is sort of a call to action, if you will, a challenge for them. Youth in particular, I think, care a lot about stuff like the environment and sustainability, the society around them, but don't know that engineering is a way is an outlet for their passions. They can use engineering, they can use technology to improve the world that's around them. So here are just 4 core messages that speaks to those things. So number 1, you have here engineering and technology solutions require a diversity of thinkers. There is a place for you in engineering and technology. And in fact, that phrase, there is a place for you, is the theme for next year. We're talking about this message here refers to the fact that the professions benefit from this diversity, because now we're thinking about solutions, technological solutions that treat everybody and serve everybody in society, not just a certain group of people. Number 2, engineering and technology shape the world around us, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. That's pretty straightforward. Everything you look at, whether they're buildings from the past, buildings that are being built now, or buildings that you see in the future, technology, apps, cars, and so on. Everything around us has been engineered in some way, has had an engineering process done to it. and people need to know this. Third, engineering and technology apply creativity and imagination. This is another message that people aren't aware of. They think of engineering and technology as sort of a very boring, very dry, very technical field that just requires equations. Again, not necessarily true. In fact, for a lot of the challenges that society faces, that the world faces, it requires a lot of creativity and it requires an imagination in order to turn these ideas into reality. And engineering is definitely a way to get your ideas down and get them out into the world. Lastly, engineering and technology is about health, safety, and happiness. We're all about here in engineering, here in technology, we're all about safety. There are, specific jobs that are about safety and health and happiness. So again, people need to know these things because they think of engineering as just sort of, building stuff, which again is a very narrow view of what engineering is. These are some of the stereotypes that we want to break. Um, when it comes to your commitments, we definitely want to see a lot from your end if you want to be an organizer. We are giving you funding, so there is stuff that we need to see from you. Um, one in particular is a participant survey. So at some point we're going to distribute surveys that we want you to distribute amongst all of your attendees, especially if they're kids. Here we just have some pictures of some of the answers we got from these surveys from the kids, and it's just really nice to see what resonated with them. What really got the youth in your event thinking. A lot of the answers really have to do with the environment, and a lot of the answers are like, I didn't know that I could use engineering to do this, or I didn't know that technology is extends beyond apps or cell phones. It can be used to help people. So those are really great messages, and we definitely want to know that whether or not it's resonating with people. Here we have an event planning checklist. So you're going to receive a checklist to go over before or while you're planning your event. And we'd like to see all of these things happen during your event. Again, referring back to the messaging that we're talking about as well. Do you have enough space? Do you have enough supplies? Are you getting out there and promoting your event to make sure that you have the attendance? Are you handing out the participant survey after your event is held? And how, and then we want you to report back to us once your event is done. We want to see numbers. As I said, statistics for this campaign are very important. That's why I went over them at the beginning of the presentation. We want to see improvement with our campaign. One of the ways that we can see improvement is through quantifiable data, which includes attendees, number of attendees, a breakdown of who those attendees are, and so on. This is this is a scorecard that you'll be receiving as well. So once you apply for funding, sometime in January, you're going to get, once you apply for funding, we're going to take a look at your funding request, and then we'll approve how much money you're going to receive. This will happen in December. And then after the break, after the holidays, we're going to come back to you and give you this scorecard, which we require you to fill out. So this scorecard, it's nothing too complicated. We just really want to see attendance numbers. We want to see the messaging that you use. So which messages did you use? You don't have to use all of the messages, but we do want to see at least one of them, one of the messages being put forward to that group of people. The scorecards are also a form of self-evaluation. So we just want to see how you felt you did and where you feel you can improve for the future. So this is the theme. Again, I mentioned at the beginning, the theme for this National Engineering Month is There is a Place for You, and that speaks directly to the diversity aspect of our messaging. It's the same theme for all National Engineering Month campaigns across Canada. And we really, really want to focus on events that speak to this. Events that maybe are for girls to encourage them to get into engineering, maybe events in low income areas, anything that gives the message, there is a place for you in this profession. Doesn't matter if you don't fit the stereotypes that you see on television, because those are just stereotypes. Those aren't actually the reality. Or even if they are the reality, that doesn't necessarily mean that it should be that way. And if we can get more women in engineering, more people from different backgrounds, and in fact, different thinkers, if we get people who think differently, that's the whole slogan of Apple, and why Apple computers is so successful, because they think differently. And the profession, the engineering profession, technology, and so on, we need people who think differently, so that we can come up with creative solutions, that we think of the whole picture and not just a very specific subset of people, or subset of the world, because it's a globalized world, and again, the world faces challenges, and the diversity in the profession is required in order to move forward in the 21st century. Okay, so for 2016, here's what we can offer for you from the National Engineering Month Committee. We have event funding for you. This is a maximum of $700 that you can use towards your event. You need to fill out a form in order to request this money, and we will have to evaluate it. So be conscious about what you're requesting. Make sure that it makes sense. You can always request less than $700 if you think that your event is, small. This event funding also has to be less than or equal to 50% of your budget. So if it's $700, but your budget is actually 1,400, you have to find 700 other dollars for your event. If your event only costs $300, you cannot request $300 from us. You have to request $150. That's just because there's only so much money to go around, and also there are other avenues to get sponsorship money. It's from, if you're at a university, you can ask your university, your an engineering society, if they have funds, professors, teachers, if there is a fund available for running events. Maybe you can find companies to sponsor your event, and so on. There are other ways to do that, or maybe you can charge for your event. Maybe if it's a contest or so on, there could be an entry fee, $5 or so on, just to make up the rest of the money. What else do we offer? We offer a community of outreach enthusiasts. So you're not the only, when you run an event, you're not the only one who's running these types of events, and there's a whole community out there. And if you need help, if you need tips, if you want to find contacts to help you run your event, that's what we're here for. And you can definitely ask us. Say you're looking for an expert on a particular topic in order to run a lecture for you. We can definitely look into our contact list and see if there's someone we can direct to your event. Stuff like that. That's what we're here for. And we're also going to run various other webinars as we get closer to National Engineering Month to help you with other topics that you might not know too much about. That includes social media, dealing with social media, and being able to promote your event on social media. Event planning in general is quite difficult, so we'll run a webinar on that. Yeah, that's in offer 3. We also have measurement tools, so we'll provide you, or you can download messaging guidelines. So if you forget what I just said about NEM messaging, it's available for download on our website, and you can keep those. And also, yeah, just contact us for anything. If you really, really need help with something, we really want these events to be held. So if you're having a little bit of trouble, we'll go out of our way to help you run a successful event. Some of the requests, so when we do have people, event organizers, coming to us for help, most of them want to know about effective messaging. So messaging is a relatively new idea within engineering outreach. So if you need help understanding why these messages are important, why we need to tell kids about diversity, or tell kids about health, safety, and happiness, ask us. If you need help trying to integrate these messages within your event, because your event idea is a little bit, might not be uh, open to these messages. It's sort of too technical or something. We can help you mold the event in a way that it talks about these messages. We're going to help with promotion. We have a website, and we're going to put your event on the website, and we'll email blast whoever we can in order to get more attendees at your event if you so choose. Recruiting, if you need help recruiting volunteers, and yeah, just planning in general, we can help. So here's the form. Here's a sample form, and it's on our website, and you can download it. You need to email it back to us by November 13th. So as of today, you have maybe 2.5 weeks to send those in. It's a fairly basic thing. We need all of this information from you so that if there is something that comes up, we can contact you about it. We also will send every event organizer a box of goodies, a box of giveaways that they can give to their attendees. So we need your address for shipping. We'd also like to know about your budget and the topic of your event. We just want to make sure that all of the topics are appropriate for National Engineering Month. Here's another part of the form. You can take a look at this again on the nemontario.ca website. Here are the key dates. Again, as I said, November 13th is the due date for the event form. By December, we're going to make decisions on funding. Whether or not you got all of the money that you requested. By January 15th, we're going to send you that scorecard that I mentioned. By February 15th, we're going to ship the merchandise, the freebies to you. And then yeah, in March the events are held. Hopefully by April. So we sort of bleed into the first week of April when it comes to events. But hopefully by April 10th, all of the events are completed and we can start sending payments out. We split the funding payments once we make funding decisions. We actually split the funding payments. So we will mail checks to you as an event organizer. We'll mail half of your funding before your event, and then half of it at the end. And this is just to ensure that events are being held and so on. Then there's also a matter of outreach or innovation funding. So this is a special pool of funding for innovative, really innovative events. So we have traditional events that are being held, and we're happy to fund them, but we also want to see a little bit of innovation when it comes to events. So if you have an event that you think just goes far and beyond what's being done now. So, for example, the most traditional event that I can think of is bridge building. That's a very traditional event, and that's not innovative. What can you do? What is a type of outreach event that is truly innovative, that gets kids thinking, or that gets the public thinking, that is hands-on maybe, that talks about global and social issues? Think about these, and if you really think that you have an awesome idea, you can apply for this innovation funding. So this innovation funding will actually be on top of your regular event funding. So if you request $700 for your event, you can also request additional funding for your innovation. So again, if you think you have a really super awesome idea that will sort of blow people's minds when they actually attend the event, apply for this funding, and we'll take a look and then decide on whether or not your event is innovative, and then give you that money as well. Because it is an extra pool of money, there are additional questions that we have to ask about your event, but they're not too difficult or to require too much of your time. This is all on the NEM website. You should be able to find a link to all of this information. Think about your event and think about what is innovative to you. We have some examples of innovative events that have been held in the past where we distributed this money. Water for the World is an event that's a pretty good one because it talks about water filtration in sub-Saharan Africa. It talks about technological literacy. These are issues that aren't necessarily addressed in more traditional outreach events. So that's why it's innovative. The Girl Guides Mission to Mars events were great because it was a collaboration with a new partner that we've never worked with before, Girl Guides, and it also focused a lot on the concept of diversity. So that was a great one too. These two were very, very innovative, and we contributed money towards that. So if you are thinking about this, use these examples as a guide as to what we think is innovative. So here are just some bullet points: challenge, create, question, explore, inspire, encourage, excite. So those are important points that you want to think about if you really want to do innovation funding. Here are some events that were held last year. The Girl Guides event. There's a picture of the Girl Guides event. That thing there, all the Girl Guides are looking at with the balloon attached to it. That's actually supposed to be a Mars rover, and it got them thinking about Mars and space exploration and engineering and all the engineering that it takes to explore space. There are a couple of pictures here. There's a picture there of a button that was actually an innovative idea where one of the organizers they needed help purchasing a button maker, and the button maker was an innovative idea because they would go to like a county fair or a large event where there are kids, and they would make the buttons, and they would let the kids make the buttons. And there's a lot to that because the kids are making their own giveaways. They're making their own swag. Um, so that was really, really cool. And you can talk about the engineering because manufacturing is engineering, and technically they're manufacturing a button. So that's a pretty cool way to get kids involved with engineering and make them understand all the components to engineering. So again, as I mentioned, this is just a summary of what I just talked about. Regular funding is $700 per event, payable in 2 installments. These are standard events. It has to be half the costs or less. We're not going to fund the full event. For innovation funding, it depends on your application. We're going to take a look at it. These are for new events only, so it has to be something that's super innovative, and we'll take a look at it, and we will hopefully be able to fulfill your request if it's a really cool event. In both cases, as an organizer, you will receive T-shirts, posters, NEM merchandise. We'll all send that to you in early February. We require you to submit a scorecard, a self-evaluation scorecard. And again, workshops and webinars, stuff like this will happen as we get closer to March. Just so you know, who's evaluating your funding applications? The National Engineering Month Ontario Steering Committee, which is a group of people from the main partners, that's Professional Engineers Ontario, OSET, and the Ontario Society of Professional Engineers. The committee will be reviewing all of these funding applications and making sure that it's a good use of money. Again, the timeline, November 13th, please complete your funding applications and send it to nemontario@ewb.ca. Funding decisions will be made, and by December you'll know whether your event is a go and how much money you received. If you have any questions, I believe I'm running out of time. I'll take maybe 2 minutes for questions, and if there are any additional questions, you can definitely email me. My email is right there, alanham@ewb.ca. Feel free to email me with any questions you have, and I invite you to take part in this great outreach initiative. So I'm going to unmute everybody, and if you have any questions, definitely ask. And again, my email is there. Or you can ask in the chat.